My name is Denis. We will be presenting ourselves later on, and I present you Blanca as well, who will be the demos of what we can do in terms of career management. So let's start. So the idea of that conference came at beginning of the year when we discussed with our customers and a lot of partners, and we found out that everybody was looking for skilled people in the industry, and everybody was struggling for skilled people in the industry. So we said, okay, this is our job. We will see. We are an engineering company, so one of our main assets are the engineers. So we believed it was our mission to start talking about the scarcity of resources and how to fight that publicly and widely. So who we are here? Maybe I let you, Blanca, introduce yourself first.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. The conference is going to be held in English because of me. As you can read on the slide, my name is Blanca. I'm Spanish. I work currently for Atexis, which is an ALTEN company. I work in Seville, in the International Training Center that Airbus has there to train customers in all of their military products. Currently, I'm the manager of the MRTT instructors group that Atexis have there. I think all of you will have heard before about the MRTT aircraft because it's been quite popular during that days. Apart from that, I'm also an instructor for the MRTT aircraft, for the pilots and for the technician. And in addition to that, I'm an instructor for the A400M. That's another aircraft that I'm sure you know about. In addition to that, I also collaborate as a subject matter expert for our customer there. So for Airbus, I help them to design training solutions and to provide suggestions to their customers. And finally, I am also working as a representative of the Assets Plus project that I will speak to you about this later on. So that's all about me.
And myself, I'm currently managing the aerospace defense and security business within ALTEN, as well as I'm the CEO of the Atexis company that Blanca mentioned. So quickly regarding ALTEN, so we are an engineering services company, meaning that we provide services in engineering and digital services. 50,000 employees, we operate in more than 30 countries today. We did in 2021 2.9 billion euro turnover, and we are in business for 34 years with a constant growth. What we will do, we will do a real quick presentation, and the idea is to really spend a little bit of time with you so that we can exchange specifically if you have dedicated questions. So ALTEN in defense. So I said 50,000 people globally at ALTEN. Defense is a little more than 2,000 engineers globally, 17 countries, dedicated in two different fields. The ALTEN brand is selling really the engineering parts, meaning we are talking here about cybersecurity, data, information system, embedded software development, and obviously the new coming Industry 4.0 strategy. So not forgetting the system engineering activities. So really, we do operate in everything that you saw on the fair in Eurosatory. We do have engineers on behind most of these animals you can see, developing them, either the softwares or the hardware, or securing them on the cybersecurity. And we have a second brand called Atexis, dedicated to the operations and the aftermarket part of the business, with a lot of activities in field services, in digital learning, in supply chain, for example, and integrated logistics services. So to go right into the topic, for us, the quest for talent is that. Meaning that probably you recognize yourself and you can fill up your title in here. It is a headache to hire engineers and talents today. It's a headache for everyone. This is why we are here to exchange about the topic. And what we found out, and the reasons why the engineers or the talents are joining a company, that are also the reasons why they are leaving a company, by the way, there are three main reasons. First one, a talent is looking for a great job content. They want to have a job where they enjoy themselves, where they keep learning. Second one is the career evolution. Obviously, when you start a job, when you have motivation, you want to have a career evolution. And last but not least, a fair market salary. That's normal. So those are the three, and the only three reasons why a talent joins the company, and the three main reasons why they leave a company. So specifically, on the first part, which is having a great job content, we found out that all the young generation, they want to have an impact. I mean, that's part of your DNA. You want to have an impact, and you want to keep learning in your career. And obviously, the content of the mission you will do, the job you will do, is quite important. The industry we have is quite interesting because it has some very good differentiating factors. First, we work on advanced technologies, for sure. Second, we work on major programs, multi-years programs, extremely complex programs. So that's interesting, that's thrilling. And third, we can hire people that have the sense of sovereignty, protecting their countries, etc., etc. So it has values inside. But at the same time, we also have drawbacks, meaning that we have defense clearance processes that can take time and slow the processes. National eyes-only policy as well, with the same impact, and a global defense bashing sometimes that is putting people a little bit aside of the market for us. The second point is the career projection. You want a career projection, you will have growth. If you do not project your engineers, your talents, you will lose them for sure. So the opposite is totally exactly what we need to do, meaning that we need to push talents to grow in companies. We need to make sure that they keep evolving, even if it's comfortable for managers, for leaders to keep an engineer in one position, a talent in one position. That's the only way to get them out. And you can have multiple career evolution, especially at ALTEN, where you can start as an engineer, for example, or another function, and you can grow a specialist, you can grow project management, you can grow leadership roles, business managers roles, you can go international, for example, and I guess Blanca is one of the good examples for that.
Yeah. I think I can be a good example for that. I forgot to mention that my background is engineer, so I'm an aeronautical engineer. So when I finished my degree, to be honest, I didn't have even an idea that the job I'm doing today exists. But I got the opportunity to get an internship and then to join the company, to join ALTEN as a technical author, working on the materials that we develop there directly with the customer and so on. So I discovered a new field, the customer services field, that maybe when you join or when you're studying a degree, it's not something that you think about at the first time. But then I started learning a lot about the different systems, technology, and I became somehow an expert in some defense systems, like the mission systems or something like that. And I discovered that I was enjoying more and more. So I decided that I wanted to keep on that way. So that's why I decided to become an instructor. So I was given the opportunity to, as Denise said, work in a very international environment, okay? Because even though my work or my working place is in Seville, I am very used to work with international customers. So, for example, now I'm working with some Australian, with some Singaporeans, people from Germany also. So, if you like the international atmosphere, learning about other cultures and exchanging info with some people from other cultures, that's your place, definitely. Then I also, there was a time where, as Denise said, I need to grow a little bit, and I needed some additional challenges. And I discovered that not only the technical part was my thing, but also I like managing people, organizing teams, getting done things in an effective and efficient way, and so on. So that's why I was given some additional training by Atexis, this time on soft skills and on some leadership and management things. So I could become like the leader or the head of instructor for the MRTT team, which is currently what I am doing now. So as Denise was saying, we shouldn't close our minds or close ourselves doors, because even though when you join a company, if you want, there are still a lot of challenge and a lot of places when you can put and add a lot of value.
All right, thank you. And the third item you remember is the fair market salary. So we will give you one example. On the right you have lawyers. So I don't know if you noticed, but the industry pays for 1 day of an engineer. This is the exact equivalent to 1 hour of a lawyer, which is kind of weird because the value added is brought in the industry by the engineers, by the talents, and we do not value that properly. And that's the main message of that presentation today, is it is our job in our industry, in the defense industry, to pay and to value what creates the value in the industry. And the engineers are creating the value. So why paying the lawyers 8 times more than an engineer? That's probably one of the big leads we need to follow to understand how we can improve, how we can attract talents properly into our industry and make it prosper. For the second part, I will let Blanca develop about an action, because we are not staying still in front of the problem of recruitment and retaining talents. So Blanca is part of a global group called Assets, and she will explain what actions she's deploying to fight that complexity in recruitment.
Thank you, Denise. So as Denise was saying, we have here quite a big challenge on recruiting people, but there is an even bigger challenge nowadays, which is in the gap we have between the knowledge you get when you exit university or when you finish your degree. It's true that you know a lot of things, you know a lot of mathematics, you know a lot of physics, you know quite a lot of systems engineering, but you do not know fairly nothing about defense and technology. And nowadays, I suppose everyone here in the audience will agree with me that if you want to be working on the place where the latest technology is being on, it's on defense. But unfortunately, the students who are finishing their degrees, as I was saying, they do not get that knowledge. So we feel that something was needed to be done. So that's why the Assets Plus project was born. Okay, Assets Plus project, okay, is they said is a project for an alliance for strategic skills addressing concerning technology in defense. So what does this mean? This means that through this project, we are looking forward to something that I personally feel that sometimes it's missing a lot in the university, and it is the union or the collaboration between the companies and the university. So here we have educational partners, and we have also industry partners, like myself, for example, that have decided to join in an European background, because I'm sure that you will agree with me that nowadays the European challenge for defense is something that is more important than ever. So we have decided to come to a consortium, to come to an agreement, and there our objective here is it says there, now we're gonna propose or we're gonna try to define some lines or some objective in order to fill the gap between the knowledge we need as recruiters in the defense industry and the knowledge that the market have. I started speaking about the university, but here we're not reaching only people who finish their degrees. We're reaching also people that are doing some other kind of learning and some other kind of education also. So that's to say that with these projects, we're going to cover all of the spectrum of the different profiles that we will need in the future, or that we actually nowadays need in the future for the defense industry. So as I have written for you there as small key points, we have nowadays 30 partners that work together in consortium. Myself, I'm working as an external expert. There are like different roles and so on. So my role basically is to evaluate the outcomes of the group as an external and independent expert. If you can move, yeah. So what has been done, that sounds good, but how can we reach or how can we assess that kind of project? So here you have the picture, what has been done up to the moment. I know that this graphic is a little bit complex and probably from your place you won't be able to read it, but basically as a keywords, as keynotes, what have we done up to now? Up to now, several profiles has been defined, and together with those profiles, we have assigned them some competencies and some skills that we will need in the future, okay? And now we have gone one step forward, okay? So now what we are doing is that we are designing and evaluating courses to cover all those competencies. Nowadays, actually, the deadline is tomorrow or something like that. We have developed some prototype courses, some profiles. So as internal experts, we're going to be evaluating them. We're going to be going through them. And then when this process is done, we're going to be offering them or opening them to the market. If you're curious about that, I encourage all of you to go to that web page, Assets Plus. So I guess you can take a picture with your mobile phone or something like that. It's going to be the easiest way. And then have a look about more details of the project, because it is something really interesting. And if you have that vocation, that European vocation of service and of working all together in a network and so on, that's going to be interesting, because here we're working all of the countries of the European Union all together. So that's quite interesting.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Blanca. And this is it. This is time for questions. If you have questions, feel free to shoot.
Is it on? Yes. You said during your presentation that for managers to recruit in the defense industry, it is a headache. What do you think is the cause of the problem? Why does it occur?
Well, the cause of the problem is that it's a multiple cause. Is that first the industry is, as I said, there are some barriers to entry into the industry. So the flow, the capacity you address when you recruit is lower, is less than in other industries. Second, the bashing, the defense bashing, is also creating a little bit of a flow that is deviated from us, for sure. And third, currently, the big industrial companies here, they did not hire too much in the past 2 years during the COVID crisis, and they start hiring since the beginning of the year. and they do not have necessarily extremely strong processes, but they are very attractive to the talents. So they attract talents quite widely. But at the same time, and this is probably what they don't do that well, is that they do not retain their talents themselves properly. So there is a kind of a big turnover phase turning globally, including in our industry, and this is making a little bit more difficult the hiring process. And at the end of the day, it's also the salary. When I'm taking the example of a software developer fresh out of school is paid more in the bank industry than in the defense industry. Is that normal? I'm not sure. So, and why is this happening this way? Because the bank industry is paying more the software engineer. And the defense industry, they want to have lower prices, and they keep prices low. So even as a company like we are at ALTEN, sometimes we can even decide to say, okay, well, that customer in the defense sector, we are not going to go support them too much, because we can position our engineers at a better margin at the end of the day, and at a better salary for the engineer in the bank industry, for example, or in the small companies that are very innovative companies. Any other questions?
Hi. Do you think this question of the turnover is a real problem, or is it just a fact for the new generation that we have to take in account in the HR policies and strategy nowadays? Because whatever we will do about the interest of the career, the salary, etc., the new generation need to change every 2 or 3 years, and that's just a sociological fact.
Yeah, it is probably a real social change. I mean, at least in a country like France, because in other countries it's the case already for a very long time. So I think we are here in France. So in France we were a little bit lagging behind that culture of we can change from one company to another. So that's happening, and I think that's a good thing. And we need to have a turnover between companies anyways. This is how we will also improve the defense industry. Now, the question, especially for companies like us and our customers, is we are companies that are seeking growth and constant growth. For that, we need managers, we need directors. So we need to be able to grow our people, because we cannot only hire freshers out of school and keep them a few years and then they go somewhere else. You do not generate growth by only hiring people from outside. So the challenge is, yes, we need to stabilize the turnover, but also we need to be strong in managing the careers, and the careers of the best. Feel free to shoot any other question. Huh?
Maybe we stray a bit from the subject, but you talked about defense bashing. Can you expand on that?
The defense bashing. Yeah, but it happens. I mean, I'm going to take actual examples. Where in our recruitment processes, we sometimes face engineers that are telling us, "I absolutely do not want to work on missiles or on a very defense that can possibly kill people." They have their own values, let's say. Let's put it this way. So this is you have a part of the population that do not like too much that industry. That's what I call the defense bashing. So that we have to respect. But in terms of capacity to hire and recruit, it limits us a little bit. So I guess no questions. I mean, we can stay together and maybe answer a more personal question then. So thank you very much. Thank you, Blanca, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And have a good end of the week.